Dynamic Disc is going to go out of business in 2025. I've got 3 reasons why. Let's jump into it. A recent Reddit AMA with Kris Edson, former director of operations at Dynamic Discs, is setting the disc golf social media world on fire. He unveiled so many things that probably a lot of you were thinking, but it wasn't confirmed. So we're going to use some of that and then some research that I've done on my own to go down this rabbit hole of why Dynamic Discs is going to go out of business in 2025. And just a disclaimer, these are all my personal opinions. Dynamic Disc has not shown me their balance sheet. I haven't seen any of their numbers. So this is me taking the information that's out there on the internet and doing my own research and putting my own spin into it. But without further ado, let's get into the first reason. My first point is that nobody buys dynamic discs anymore. When's the last time you went out and bought a dynamic disc? How many dynamic discs do you have in your bag? I know I have none in my bag, and that's kind of how the entire disc golf community feels right now, because looking at Foundation Disc Golf's top 100 best-selling discs of 2024, a very popular site for people buying discs, Dynamic Disc had 0 on the top 100. The top 100 Dynamic Disc had 0. Another major retailer in the disc golf space is Infinite Discs, and they dropped their best-selling discs of 2024 as well. And Dynamic Discs had 1 driver in the top 50, and it came in at number 50. Dynamic Discs had 1 fairway driver that came in at number 44, 1 mid-range disc that came in at number 26, and 2 putters that came in at 13 and 30. That's not a successful company. That's not a disc golf company that breeds excitement. That's not a disc golf company that breeds success. When you're hardly selling any discs on 2 major retailers, that's not a good sign. In fact, every single year since 2018, Dynamic Discs has dropped in sales on Infinite Discs. They used to have a 9% market share. Now they only have a 2.3% market share, which is less than ThoughtSpace Athletics, Prodigy, and Clash Discs. So sales are dropping. Why is nobody buying Dynamic Discs anymore? I think there's a few reasons for that. The first one is Dynamic Discs are straight up boring. Their stamps are not cool. They're very boring. It's not 2015 anymore. People don't want a disc with just the name on it. They want a cool graphic design. They want something to look at. They want the disc to be pretty. And Dynamic Discs really aren't that pretty unless you're paying upwards of $25 to $30 for a Tour Series disc. Also, their naming style is not very good. The whole military industrial complex, police, justice vibe that Dynamic Discs has going on is not really popular with the kids nowadays. And it's just something that turns a lot of people off. You're always going to be turning off a segment of buyers when you choose to have this kind of naming style. Another reason that people don't buy Dynamic Discs is they're just straight up too expensive. Yeah, you can go to Walmart or Dick's Sporting Goods and get a base plastic one for only $8 or something like that. But look at their Tour Series. A Ricky Wysocki disc is upwards of almost $30. Who is spending $30 on a Ricky Wysocki disc? And honestly, he might be leaving Dynamic Discs, and we're going to get to that point in just a little bit, so stay with me. But their discs just are not very popular. They're not very cool. The ones that are cool and popular are so expensive that it prices a lot of people out of the market. The second reason that Dynamic Discs is going to go out of business in 2025 is they've made a mess of their team personnel. One, who do they have on their team besides Ricky and Kona? Two, the Ricky and Kona situation is a terrible situation for them to be in. Ricky signed a 4-year, $1 million deal, and Kona signed a 4-year, $400,000 deal. And these deals are eating up Dynamic Discs. One, they already have a problem with making money, as we saw in the AMA. But two, these deals are not profitable for them. They're not getting a return on investment. These are bad deals for Dynamic Disc, which is confirmed by their director of operations. So, what is Dynamic Disc going to do? They're going to have to move on from these players. Ricky last won a major in 2017, and Kona has 2 top 10s last year, and in the prior year, she had none and finished 51st in tour standings. These are players that aren't coming up when Dynamic Discs need them the most. One, they just need Kona to be competent. She has shown ever since she signed this deal, she's not a competent disc golfer. She's not a good disc golfer anymore, and she's not someone who can go out and win a major. Ricky Wysocki hasn't won a major since 2017. The field's only getting larger and more competitive. Yes, he can go win some of these Elite Series events, but that's not going to move the needle like Dynamic Discs needs for someone you're paying $1 million to. My prediction is that in 2025, Dynamic Disc is going to drop both Kona and Ricky Wysocki. If you take a look at some of social media posts from Ricky Wysocki, I think the writing is on the wall already. He has a recent image of him getting ready for the Ohio State football game, but there's a Discraft disc in the background. Ricky knows what he's doing. He's intentional. He hasn't made a single post in 2025 other than stories, and Dynamic Discs is no longer in his Instagram bio. He's hinting that he's going to be moving on to a different company. Something that also tells me that he's moving on to a different company is that a lot of his discs are on sale right now at Dynamic Discs website. If you look at the website, 6 of his discs are on sale. A really good sale. If you like these discs, I would go get them right now because it's a great sale. But why would a company be having such a good sale on their highest performing athlete if they're staying? Does Paul McBeth have these kind of sales? Does Simon Lizotte have these kind of sales? Does Eagle McMahon, Kristen Tatar, do they have these kinds of sales? They don't. But Ricky does. And if Ricky is a top 5 player in the world, why is he having a big time sale like this if he's staying? That just doesn't make sense to me. Does that make sense to you? Do you think that Ricky would be staying in not making any posts, not having Dynamic Disc in his bio, and a lot of sales on his discs, a big contract that's not really making any kind of return for the company? A lot of things are starting to add up here, and Dynamic Discs is probably going to have to move on from Ricky Wysocki, which is going to crush their sales, but they're already losing money. They're in a loss-loss situation here. Kona has completely underperformed on her contract, and they're just going to have to eat that. And I understand that she's going through cancer right now, but that doesn't change the fact that she signed one of the most lucrative disc golf deals for the FPO division. I mean, she got the same amount of money that Kristen Tatar got. And Kristen's won world championships and majors. Kona has hardly cracked the top 5. Do you think that Dynamic Discs should drop Ricky and Kona? If you were running Dynamic Discs, would you drop them, or would you try to rework their deal? Let me know in the comments down below. My third point for why Dynamic Discs will go out of business in 2025 is they've completely lost their personality. This is a brand with no identity. This is a brand with no personality anymore. A few years ago, they had Disc Golf Answer Man, and they had people on Instagram and YouTube that you knew, like Bobby, Robert, Eric McCabe, Danny, Anthony. But all of these people, besides Eric McCabe, are gone. They're no longer with Dynamic Discs. So where's the personality? Why would you be turning to Dynamic Discs YouTube? Why would you be turning to their Instagram when there's no personality that's bringing you back? But also looking further into it, the pro shop has closed. The big pro shop in downtown Emporia is now closed. That's not a good sign. Do you think Discraft is closing their pro shop? Innova's closing their pro shop? Big brands who are successful don't close their main pro shop in the town that built them up and has supported them. The employees are maybe starting to look at this as just another job instead of something to be excited to go to work to every day. At least that's what Kris is saying in his posts on Reddit. Don't get me wrong, I love Eric McCabe, I love Logan Harpool, Chris Smith, Ron Converse, I love some of the individuals who are sponsored by Dynamic Discs, but ever since they've been sold to House of Discs, their brand identity is just gone. I couldn't tell you what their brand identity is, and it might just be Ricky Wysocki who has one foot out the door. So how will Dynamic Discs survive 2025 if they don't have Ricky Wysocki? Kona's not playing good disc golf or disc golf at all. Their sales are continuing to drop. They're closing their pro shop. Employees are frustrated. There's no names on tour that's going to be bringing them new sales. When someone wins on tour, that's a spike in sales. There's something to be excited about. But if there's nothing to be excited about for their players on tour, what will Dynamic Discs do? What do you think Dynamic Discs will do? Do you think they'll be able to make it out of 2025? Do you think that they're going to rebound and I'm just blowing smoke right now? Or do you think this is a serious problem and, like I do, Dynamic Discs will stop existing by the end of 2025? Let me know in the comments down below if you enjoyed this kind of content. Hit that subscribe button, like it up. Let me know what your overall thoughts are on Dynamic Discs. How many discs do you throw from them? And I will see you guys in the next video.